Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got something super fun for all my fellow crafters, especially if you're just getting started. This is a beginner-friendly guide to decorating scrapbook album covers, featuring my top 10 favorite ideas to make your covers stand out and feel truly special. I'll share what I personally love and maybe don't love as much about each technique, and to make it extra helpful, I've rated them on a scale from 1 to 5 stars across 4 categories: effectiveness, cost, must have, and beginner friendliness. Let's dive right in. Chipboard is one of my go-to materials. It adds structure, dimension, and a high-end feel instantly. You'll see in my examples that chipboard can be used in two main ways. One is just using decorative chipboard pieces directly. Many come pre-cut in pretty shapes and finishes, so they're ready to go and add instant texture. The other way I love using it is to back up or layer behind other decorative pieces. It just gives that enough lift to make your focal points pop right off the cover. Ribbon adds a soft, charming touch. Um, it's just one of those magical touches that can do so much. You can use it for functional closures. You just sandwich it between the cover paper and the base to make a tie-on bow, or simply use it to add texture by tying a bow or threading it through a tag. Even a small piece of ribbon can make your cover feel more soft, romantic, or whimsical. It's also great for beginners because it's so easy to use and the results are always charming. Threads and cords are perfect for adding subtle texture or detail. You can wrap them, dangle charms, or even stitched elements down. They're inexpensive and really elevate the tactile quality of your cover, but getting them to look just right can take a little trial and error. Flowers. Flowers instantly make your cover look professional, polished, and elevated. There's something about flowers. It just makes everything look complete, like it belongs in a boutique. But here's the thing. For beginners, flowers can be a little tricky to stock because they're not cheap, especially the good ones. And they're surprisingly hard sometimes to match with your project, unless you know exactly what you need. So my advice, don't buy flowers just to have them. Wait until your color, wait until your cover is almost done and you know exactly what tone you want, what color, how big, where it would go, and what vibe you're aiming for. Here is an example where I only added flower after I finalized everything else. At first, I wasn't sure what I wanted for the cover, so I focused on building the background and finding the right focal point. Once everything came together and the color palette was clear, I realized I needed a deep red flower to really pop against the black and brighten up the whole cover. And it worked beautifully. And that's when I started shopping with a very clear vision in my mind. Because honestly, for the same $5, you could buy ribbon or thread that's gonna last across multiple projects. But if you guess wrong with flowers, you might end up with 10 beautiful packs and not a single one that's gonna fit. Metal embellishments. Metal embellishments add instant sophistication. Think corner protectors, key charms, vintage keys, clock hands, or metal closures. They all add a tactile, dimensional quality that feels more elevated. They give your album a bit of a vintage or steampunk edge, depending on your theme. Just remember that heavier metal pieces might need a strong glue or brads to hold them in place. Gold foil paper. Well, gold foil is so eye-catching. Um, the it just gives your album a luxurious look. I wouldn't call this one essential for beginners, but it's magical once you have it. Clustered elements. This is one of my favorite techniques. So instead of using a single focal point, you kind of combine your stickers, ephemera pieces, journaling bits, and other scraps to build a mini scene. It's a creative way to reuse leftovers, but it does take some design instinct to make it look polished. But let's be honest, usually I don't really have anything in my mind. I just start with some elements, playing them around, clustered. Usually everything just come together in the end. Framing. Adding a frame, whether it is a chipboard, layered mats, or die cuts, is one of the easiest and most effective ways to anchor your design. It gives your cover structure. It tells eye where to look. I think it's super beginner friendly and it will always look professional. So usually, when I'm really uninspired, I can always start with a focal point and choose a background that kind of contrast with it and start from there. Movement and interactive elements. Adding something that moves or that you can interact with, like a flap, like a door or window that you can open up, or some swing tags. They all create surprise and a sense of joy. These interactive touches can really elevate your cover from pretty to unforgettable. So this is an example where I made a in Alice in Wonderland album in the box. Um, I really love this image. I don't want to interrupt with it. Um, and I really want to accentuate the characters. That is why I backed them up with chipboard and hid some brads underneath, so that you see you can kind of move the characters around. It's super fun. I really love it. Number 10, sparkle, glitter, glossy accent, pearls, jewels. Let's be real, sometimes you just need some sparkle. Glossy accents, glitter glue, rhinestones, enamel dots, they all add that final touch of glam. They're pretty easy to use too. And that's a wrap on my top 10 favorite cover decorating ideas. I hope this gives you both inspiration and practical insights into what's worth trying out. And before you go, here's a quick visual recap of everything we covered. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.